Yes, people, welcome back to my channel. And today we're talking transfers. Yes, we're talking Arsenal transfers as news has been breaking throughout the week. Despite a few Arsenal fans getting worried that the club, Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta, haven't been doing the business fast enough, efficiently enough for their liking. It looks like we're moving. It looks like we're moving, people. And we're going to start with Eberechi Eze. Anyone who's watching this video who's into their football will be familiar with him. Crystal Palace, attacking midfielder, can play off the left-hand side. Obviously, Oliver Glasner likes to play that three at the back system. So often Eze is one of those 2 10s behind the striker. So he does veer off to the left, links up well with Tyreek Mitchell. He will float over to the right-hand side as well, linking up with Daniel Munoz. So he's a very good player. He's versatile, understands the game. Of course, he scored that goal against Manchester City in the final as they beat them 1-0 to lift their first ever major trophy, the FA Cup. Eze's a good player. He's actually a winner now as well. He's won a trophy more recent than some of our squad. Well, definitely more recent than all of our current squad, as of course we haven't won a trophy since that FA Cup that Mikel Arteta won in his first season at the club. But I want to delve deep into why Eberechi Eze is a player that we should be looking to sign, as well as a left winger, by the way. I just want to say that now. I don't think Eze is a player we should be signing instead of Rodrigo or Rafael Leao. I think Eze is the sort of player you bring in alongside that left winger and you really boost the squad's options, at which point I believe Trossard or Martinelli would have to go. My preference would be Trossard. Eberechi Eze, his statistics for last season, impressive. I mean, he's playing at Crystal Palace, a mid-table club. Of course, they did beat Man City in the FA Cup final, but in general, they're not expected to challenge for Europe. They will be in the Europa League next season, but they haven't really got high expectations to do anything really more than try and get into Europe and obviously avoid relegation. Eze, last season in the Premier League, he played 34 games, which 31 of those were starts. He got 8 goals and 8 assists. FA Cup, of course, I've already mentioned his great run with Crystal Palace in the FA Cup, scoring the goal in the final. He played 5 games, scoring 4 and got 1 assist. EFL Cup, 4 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. In total, Eze played 43 games, scoring 14 and getting 11 assists. Now, for me, that is the evidence there of why we need him. He's a player that brings you goals, he brings assists. The only 2 players in Arsenal's squad to get close to Eberechi Eze's total goals and assists in all competitions is Bukayo Saka, of course, and Kai Havertz. Now, some of the Arsenal fan base are torn on Kai Havertz. They're not sure if he's still the player. I actually think he's good for the squad. I just don't think we can rely on him to be our main source of goals. Kai Havertz got 20 goals and assists in all competitions, and that was across 36 games. Bukayo Saka across 37 games. Obviously had that terrible hamstring injury in December away to Crystal Palace, ironically. He managed still to get 26 goals and assists in all competitions. So Bukayo Saka there is our clear main threat. Havertz only 6 goals and assists less, but it's still, it just feels like we could do with more goals and assists. And if you bring in Eberechi Eze, who predominantly operates on the left-hand side, it takes away a bit of the pressure on Bukayo Saka, because Arsenal are often always going down that right-hand side, constantly feeding the ball to Saka. And I think we're getting a bit predictable. Obviously, we saw Jurrien Timber play at right-back, where Ben White has normally been the right back that starts with Saka, and Timber's not the same as Ben White. He won't go forward and overlap as much. He more likes to support the play and keep the ball recycling around the opposition's defence. But I think if you bring in Eberechi Eze, it gives that right hand side less focus for the opposition, and the opposition now have to ask themselves, all right, we've got Eberechi Eze who can score, he can create out of nothing. We've seen it all this season. Leandro Trossard, I've spoken about in a previous video. Go and watch that. It's a keep bench sell for the Arsenal squad. Leandro Trossard, he played 56 games in all competitions, scoring 10 goals and getting 10 assists. So there you have it, people. Leandro Trossard in more games scored less and assisted less than Eberechi Eze. Gabriel Martinelli had arguably his worst season for Arsenal since he's established himself as a first-team regular. Martinelli played a total of 51 games, scoring 10 goals and getting just 6 assists. Now, I actually said I'd rather keep Martinelli than Trossard, and that's more of an age thing. I think Martinelli will actually do well with a bit of competition. He strikes me as the sort of person that likes that, where I think Leandro Trossard actually prefers to feel like he can play often. I remember when he scored the winner against Aston Villa away at the start of the season, and his celebration was very muted, and a lot of Arsenal fans read into that he's been frustrated that he hasn't been starting. Most Arsenal fans recognise Martinelli as the starting left winger. Trossard has played more games than Martinelli this season, but that is mainly due to Martinelli's injuries being a bit up and down this season. So there you have it. We need more goals. We need more assists. And in my other video, I also referenced, Leandro Trossard doesn't necessarily get me off my seat. I know he contributes to the team. He is reliable. I like him, but he doesn't excite me. And Eberechi Eze is exciting. We've seen it similar to Bukayo Saka. He's a bit more easy to read in terms of, Saka wants to cut in on his left foot from the right and whip it into the far corner, but stopping him is a different thing. Whereas Eze, he can shoot with his left, he can shoot with his right. He's even got free kicks in the back. Declan Rice was who scored those 2 free kicks against Real Madrid. I believe that they were our first free kick scored since Martin Odegaard away at Burnley when we still had Aubameyang and Lacazette. So it's not all about free kicks and flair and tricks. It's about trophies. And a player like Eberechi Eze gets you trophies. Tottenham Hotspur are interested, but let's be honest, he ain't going to choose Tottenham over Arsenal, is he? We all know that. We all know he's going to choose Arsenal if we are serious about getting him. So yeah, that's my opinion. I don't know what you people think. I just see Eberechi as a ceiling raiser, someone who comes in and now our potential is higher. I know we've got quite a lot of midfield options now. I'm going to mention one of them who looks like they're joining as Thomas Partey is set to leave. But of course, we've got Zubimendi, Rice, Norgaard is the player who looks like he's coming in. Marino, Odegaard, Nwaneri, Fabio Vieira, I think he will leave the club. But none of those midfield options we have like Eze. Eze is different to them all. So for me, he brings us something different. He also challenges Martin Odegaard. I think Martin Odegaard, of course, he's our captain. I'm a big fan of Martin Odegaard. I think he knows he's going to start. And I'm not saying Eze should come in and take Odegaard's place, but I think he should come into the club and be able to be an option to start ahead of him. I don't think any player should be guaranteed a spot. I think you should earn your spot. Odegaard has earned it. He has. But if Eze comes in and he's playing exceptionally well, it gives Odegaard that extra boost, that extra kick to perform. If you bring in a player of Eberechi Eze's quality and ability, I actually think it helps Odegaard. I think it just lifts the whole squad, gets everyone on their toes and makes people a bit uncomfortable. And you never want to be too comfortable. It's never good. So for me, I'd sign Eberechi Eze, but let's see what happens. Now, the next player it looks like Arsenal are interested in signing and people around the club are confident that it will get done is Christian Mosquera. Now, Christian Mosquera is a 21-year-old Spanish international. He's came up through the Valencia Youth Academy. He's still at Valencia now. He's actually just been playing against England's under-21s in the European under-21 championships. Of course, Spain got knocked out to England. Ethan Nwaneri's there with the under-21s. So yeah, Christian Mosquera, he's a young, promising player. Reports are that Andrea Berta put in a bid around 20 million euros. That was rejected. And it's believed that they will go back in with a second offer for Mosquera. But from what I'm reading, people at Hand of Arsenal, Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, it seems that the club are confident in signing Mosquera and they think it will get done this summer. I'll be honest, I don't know much about him, okay? Ever since they took La Liga off Sky, I've not really been able to keep up with it as well as I used to when Messi and Ronaldo are playing. But we've done a little bit of research, of course, and let's just look at what type of player he is. WhoScored.com, which is a fairly reliable site in terms of statistics and how players play, the positions they've played in throughout the season. And interestingly, Christian Mosquera, so he started 37 games, he played 37, started all 37 for Valencia last season. 33 were at centre-back and 4 were at right-back. He's clearly a little bit versatile. We know Mikel Arteta isn't afraid to put centre-backs out of full-back. We've had Ben White, who was signed as a centre-back, now is seen as a right-back. Jurrien Timber can play centre-back, also plays right-back. On the other side, Ricardo Calafiori's played left-back, centre-back, Kivior. It's not something Mikel Arteta won't do. On WhoScored.com, they have this thing called strengths and weaknesses, where it's basically a characteristic. And it looks at, based on the statistics, how many passes they complete, duels they win, tackles made, shots on target, they can work out the strengths and weaknesses of a player. Now, for Mosquera, his strengths are holding on to the ball. His style of play is likes to play short passes. So when you combine the short passes and likes to hold on to the ball, that's a good thing for our system. We're a possession-based team. Mikel Arteta is always emphasising about control of the game, not letting the opposition control it, and making sure you dictate how the game goes, the tempo, all of that stuff. But then this is where I'm a little bit concerned, and I'm trying to be balanced because I do think it's a good signing, just from what I've seen, the few clips I've watched, but this worries me a little bit. His weaknesses, it says, aerial duels, crossing doesn't really worry me, and concentration. Now, concentration and aerial duels, we all know how Mikel Arteta feels about duels. We all know that, okay? And concentration. Arsenal defenders of old, in maybe the Arsene Wenger era towards the end, were known for not being very strong. We all remember the Martins goal in the Carling Cup final when Koscielny and Fabianski had an absolute howler. So you're looking at it and you're thinking, I mean, do we need people who lack concentration? I don't know. But I also flip it and say one of our best centre-backs, arguably some people say is our best centre-back, is Gabriel. And Gabriel used to have sort of moments of lapses in concentration, or he'd make a mistake that seemed avoidable, and now you look at him and he's formidable. He's one of the best centre-backs in the world, rarely puts the foot wrong, and has added goals to his game. So it's something you can work on. He's only 21 years old. I think it's a good signing. I think the squad and the club needs backup. It needs more options. The likes of Takehiro Tomiyasu, you can't really rely on him. You can't count on him as a player that will be playing any games at all, really. He played once last season. That's a substitute appearance and didn't feature again. So we definitely need to bolster that right-hand side of the defence. Benjamin White and Jurrien Timber have both had injury issues. Of course, Timber done his ACL when he first joined. Jurrien Timber actually had to have ankle surgery at the end of the season. He missed our final game against Southampton, and he was actually playing. I know he spoke about playing the PSG second leg through an injury, and he just somehow got through it because he's a warrior. That's the sort of player he is. Ben White had a lot of injury issues last season, and even when he came back into the side, didn't really look like the same player that we've seen before. So it's a good signing. I welcome it. The club and the squad needed to get depth in. So yeah, good signing. Now, a signing that's going to split opinion, and I'm a bit split on it as well. I'm not really sure how I feel. Is Christian Norgaard, Brentford captain, Danish international. He's 31 years old, and it looks like Arsenal have agreed a fee of £10 million plus £5 million in add-ons. So a £50 million deal if the add-ons are achieved. It's not a bad signing. Look, some people are saying he's come in to replace Thomas Partey. Others are saying no, he's Jorginho's replacement. And you can look at it, I think both are right. I think initially the plan was Zubimendi would come in, Thomas Partey would stay, and Thomas Partey would be the deputy to Zubimendi and help him bed into the Premier League. It's something I think we should have done with Granit Xhaka. Thomas Partey hasn't agreed contract terms with Arsenal. It's rumoured he wanted too many years on his contract. Arsenal only wanted to give him one with an option of another. Thomas Partey wanted 2 years guaranteed and a pay rise. So it just hasn't worked out. They just haven't agreed. They haven't seen eye to eye. So when you look at that, it's clear that Arsenal did want to keep Thomas Partey next season. Otherwise, why would they offer him a new contract? So I understand why people are saying he's not a replacement for Jorginho. He's replacing Thomas Partey because the plan was to keep Partey. However, Zubimendi has been brought in to play the role Partey played last season, and Zubimendi is seen as our starting number 6, and Norgaard would be deputy. So in that sense, Zubimendi has replaced Partey and Norgaard replaces Jorginho. So I think it's neither here nor there. I think as long as you've got top players in the squad, it's always a bonus. Is Norgaard a top player? He's not top, but I think he's decent, he's committed, and I think he's a team player. He's obviously captained the Premier League club in Brentford. And yeah, I think it's a signing that we'll just have to see. I'm not too hung up on it. I'm not too stressed out. I don't think it's a bad signing. It's just underwhelming. It's just not... It doesn't get you off your seat. It doesn't excite you. We want a striker. We want forward players. And all we're doing is signing centre-backs and defensive midfielders. Mikel Arteta loves centre-backs and defensive midfielders. So I'm not surprised. But if the club failed to sign, you know, really exciting top forwards, they're going to have a problem on their hands. But let's see. I hope Norgaard, obviously, I hope he does well at Arsenal. Finally, before I leave everyone, I just want to quickly touch. Miles Lewis-Skelly has, of course, signed his new contract at the club. It's a 5-year deal until 2030. He actually had interest from Real Madrid. Real Madrid inquired and asked him what his situation was at the club, to which we believe Miles Lewis-Skelly never gave it a thought. he's committed to Arsenal. And I think at 18 years of age, I can't believe he's 18. At 18 years old, I think it's sensible. There's no need for Marcelo Skelly to leave the club. He's a starter at the team. I've done it. I keep referencing my keep Ben sale video. I think he starts at left back for Arsenal next season. How can you not start him? He's an England international. Thomas Tuchel is a big fan of him. So yeah, I'm happy Marcelo Skelly is tied himself down to the club. The announcement video Arsenal done where they had his mum, his grandma and family and friends at the stadium. Ian Wright was even there. It just shows you the sort of character Marcelo Skelly is. He's Arsenal through and through. I think he could be a future captain. He's got that sort of personality, that confidence. I can see him captaining the side one day, maybe after Bukayo Saka. Let's see. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Before you go, please like, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Really helps. I appreciate everyone who supported me so far. And I guess I'll see you next time. Peace.